We know the surface of the moon in incredible detail, yet for centuries, humanity ignored the ocean covering 71% of our planet. Early researchers assumed the deep sea was a lifeless void. They knew the water down there featured freezing temperatures, absolute darkness, and crushing physical pressure, making it seem impossible for biology to survive. To test that assumption, 19th century sailors had to work blind. From the decks of wooden ships, they tossed heavy lead weights overboard to measure depth, and dragged metal dredges across the seafloor to see what they could scrape up. When you drag heavy iron nets through the water, delicate, gelatinous life forms get completely obliterated in the process. Because they pulled up empty, mangled nets, scientists confidently concluded the deep ocean was a biological desert. Even as the 20th century brought acoustic sonar and nuclear submarines, the focus remained on getting from the surface to the bottom as fast as possible. We learned the depths, but bypassed the massive space between. Decades of traversing the sea with these crude instruments trained us to view the ocean as nothing more than a dark, empty transit route. While we ignored the deep, problems on the surface compounded. Today, we are running out of medical treatments for increasingly resilient diseases, and our atmosphere is saturated with heat-trapping carbon. This chart plots atmospheric carbon dioxide over 800,000 years. At the edge, the modern era features a sharp vertical spike. To prevent climate collapse, we must pull 10 gigatons of carbon from the air annually. Our current removal capacity barely registers against that target. Planting trees and building direct air capture facilities on land simply don't offer enough surface area to hit that number. To survive, we have to turn to the remaining 71% of the planet. Instead of blindly dragging the ocean up to the surface, modern researchers aboard vessels like the Falkor are bringing the laboratory down into the water. They rely on a suite of non-invasive tools. This includes advanced lasers, specialized virtual reality chambers, and underwater microscopes that operate directly in the deep sea. Rather than catching an animal in a net, these instruments sweep a laser across a fragile organism, mapping its internal anatomy in 3 dimensions without ever laying a finger on it. When scientists deployed this technology off the coast of Brazil, they verified 31 entirely new species in just 2 weeks. The space between the surface and the seafloor, known as the midwater, is packed with millions of delicate, gelatinous organisms. It is actually the largest, most densely populated habitat on Earth. Beyond cataloging new species, these organisms provide a vast reservoir of chemical compounds. Marine sponges are a prime example. Sponges are what biologists call sessile, meaning they are rooted permanently in one place. Because they cannot swim away from a predator or an infection, they had to evolve highly toxic chemical defenses to survive. When researchers isolate these natural defense chemicals, they find what are known as bioactive compounds. These are potent molecules that can interact directly with living tissue, making them perfect candidates for human medicine. This diagram illustrates how a single bioactive compound extracted from a sponge can be engineered to fight pathogens. In clinical settings, these marine chemicals have proven highly effective as antibacterial, antiviral, and even anti-tumor agents. A moment of wonder. The extreme pressure and darkness of the deep ocean have forced nature to run billions of chemical experiments. That makes the seafloor a massive, largely untouched pharmacy, holding potential cures for some of our most stubborn illnesses. Beyond microbiology, the sheer volume of the ocean drives the chemistry of the entire planet. Naturally, it acts as Earth's ultimate carbon sink, pulling heat-trapping gas out of the air. The scale of this storage is immense. Right now, the global ocean holds 50 times as much inorganic carbon as the atmosphere did before the Industrial Revolution. Scientists are now developing a framework called ocean carbon dioxide removal. The goal is to deliberately engineer the ocean's chemistry and biology to accelerate its natural ability to absorb carbon. Researchers are testing a variety of techniques to achieve this. They range from dumping nutrients like iron to stimulate plankton blooms, to altering the water's chemical alkalinity, to managing massive geometric plots of cultivated seaweed that stretch across the surface. These interventions aim to capture atmospheric emissions and sink them down to the ocean floor, locking the carbon away in the deep sea for centuries. We can no longer treat the ocean like a sterile, empty bucket. It is a highly interconnected biological operating system. But if we want to use the ocean to artificially cool the planet, we face a massive logistical hurdle. The physical infrastructure required to remove carbon at a meaningful scale is enormous. This visualization compares industrial footprints. To remove enough carbon to stabilize the climate, we would need to build an ocean CDR industry that can match the size of the entire global cement industry. This creates a dangerous paradox. If we aggressively harvest marine compounds and pump chemicals into the water to change its alkalinity, we risk wiping out the exact deep-sea ecosystems we only just found. Non-invasive tools like deep PIV lasers and genomic sequencing provide a baseline of these digital populations. By tracking shifts in these fragile communities in real time, we can finally monitor the biological damage caused by our carbon interventions. The deep ocean is no longer a dark frontier for explorers to conquer. It is the active frontline of human survival. We have to understand exactly how it works before our attempts to fix the planet end up breaking it entirely.